My name is Claire, and right now, I hate this city with a passion. I hate New York. I hate how it promises you everything, then takes it all away in a single cold, rain-lashed night like this. But more than anything, I hate what it's doing to my husband, Leo. I'm standing in the corner of The Canvas, a tiny art exhibition space we paid $3,000 to rent for 4 hours. Inside the pocket of my wool coat, my hand is clenched around something. It isn't my phone. It isn't my wallet. It's a stack of bright red circular stickers. Red dots. The symbol of success in the art world. A red dot next to a painting means sold. It means next month's rent is covered. It means talent has been recognized. It means Leo's dream isn't some ridiculous fantasy, but it's 8:50 p.m. now. 10 minutes left on the rental, and the stack of stickers in my pocket is still pristine. Smooth, untouched, not a single one peeled. I look at Leo. He's standing in the middle of the empty room with his back to me. He's wearing his nicest white shirt, the one I pressed this morning until there wasn't a wrinkle anywhere, but his shoulders are slumped now. The proud, hopeful posture he had at 6 p.m. is gone, replaced by a man trying to make himself as small as possible so he doesn't get hurt. He's pretending to adjust the painting called Autumn Dies. He's adjusted it 50 times already. I know he isn't fixing the painting. He's just searching for something to do, so he doesn't have to turn around and look at me. So he doesn't have to face the truth. No one came. You know. People love to romanticize what it's like to love an artist. They picture sunlit afternoons painting by a window, glasses of wine, deep conversations about color. But the reality is a lot uglier. Loving a broke painter means secretly shoving overdue utility bills into a drawer so he doesn't get distracted while he creates. It means picking up extra night shifts at the hospital and lying that, "I just like the night air," when the truth is, I need the money to buy those expensive imported Italian oil paints he's been dreaming about. Leo is a genius. I'm not saying that because I'm his wife. I'm saying it because I've watched him paint. I've watched the way he turns pain, joy, and even desperation into blazing color on canvas. He paints with his whole life. To put on tonight's show, Leo traded in every last shred of pride. He knocked on the doors of galleries all over Brooklyn, swallowing smug looks, polite rejections, and blunt headshakes. In the end, we decided to do it ourselves. "Just one night, Claire," he told me, eyes shining like a kid. "Just one person has to see it and understand it, and everything changes." I believed him. I always believe him. I drained the savings we'd set aside for a new car to put down the deposit for this place. I prepped wine and cheese and the proudest smile a wife can wear. But New York is pouring tonight, a cruel rain that washes hope straight down the gutter. The guests we invited, friends and acquaintances who swore they'd definitely stop by, texted one by one to cancel at the last minute. "Claire, it's raining too hard, I can't make it." "Sorry, the traffic's insane." "Wish Leo luck. Rain check." Every message was a blade sliding into my chest, and if it hurt me once, it hurt Leo 10 times. Every time the doorbell rang, because the wind slammed the glass, he jolted and spun around, hope flaring in his eyes, only for it to die when he saw nothing but darkness. I wanted to walk over and hold him. I wanted to say, "Let's go home. Screw them. You paint for me, and that's enough." But I knew my comfort right now would be poison. For a man, a wife's pity can sting worse than failure out in the world. He didn't need my love tonight. He needed the world to say, "Yes, you're real." Then Leo turned around. His face was pale under the cold spotlight. He looked at me, and the stiff, forced smile on his lips shattered my heart. "Claire," he said, voice rough, "can you take this bottle of wine home for me? Don't open it. Save it. For another time." "Leo, it's still early." I tried to salvage it, even though I knew it was a clumsy lie. No, Claire. It's over. He cut me off, his voice light but heavy with surrender. He glanced around at his paintings like he was looking at abandoned children. I'm sorry. I did it again. I dragged you into this again. I should have listened to your dad, taken a graphic design job at an ad agency. At least, we wouldn't be standing here looking at each other like idiots. He stepped forward and started taking down the nearest painting. His movements were decisive, but rough, like he wanted to erase any trace that he'd ever existed here. Don't. I lunged and grabbed his hand. Leave it. We paid until 9. I'm not letting you take it down 1 minute early. What for? Leo snapped. It was the first time in 5 years together I'd ever seen him lose control like that. His eyes were red, glossy with tears. So I can humiliate myself for 5 more minutes? Look, Claire, there's nobody here. My paintings are trash. I'm just some delusional hack dragging my wife down into the mud with me. I went still. I let go of his hand. The hurt in his eyes was so big it swallowed the whole room. I backed up, my hand tightening around the stickers in my pocket until the sharp paper edges bit into my skin. I wanted to tell him he was wrong, that he was everything to me. But I knew my words wouldn't land. I just stood there, helpless, watching the man I love collapse right in front of me. He bent his forehead against a frame, shoulders shaking. He was crying, quiet, compressed sobs, the sound of a dream dying young. And just as I was about to give up, about to tell him, "Fine, let's go. I'll make you hot soup at home," a sound cut through the room. Click. The heavy glass door behind me swung open. A blast of cold air rushed in, scattering a few brochures off the reception desk so they fluttered to the floor. I whipped around on instinct, stepping in front of Leo as if my body could shield him from being seen at his weakest. But the person in the doorway wasn't the owner coming for the keys. It was a young guy, barely more than a kid. His delivery uniform was soaked through, rain dripping off him, helmet still in his hand. He stood there panting, water streaming onto the expensive wood floor. Leo quickly turned his face away and wiped his tears. I stepped forward, my voice sharp, ready to kick him out because I assumed he had the wrong address. "Sorry, we didn't order food." The delivery guy stared at me, then glanced over the paintings. His eyes landed on the darkest canvas tucked into the corner. I'm not delivering anything," he stammered, shivering. "I was passing by and I saw this through the glass. Can I come in and look for a minute?" I stood in front of Leo with my arms crossed, forming an invisible but solid barrier. My wife instinct kicked in hard. I didn't want anyone, especially a stranger, invading this space and seeing my husband's red eyes and trembling shoulders. Leo was a proud man, and tonight had already crushed his dignity. He didn't need pity or curiosity from some random passerby. "He can come in," Leo said from behind me. His voice was hoarse, broken. He cleared his throat, trying to pull himself together, swiping quickly at the corners of his eyes. "But we're closing soon. You've only got a few minutes." I turned to protest, but Leo's gaze stopped me. It was the look of a drowning man grabbing at a straw. Even if that straw was a dripping wet delivery kid, it was still the only viewer he'd had all night. I let out a breath, stepped aside, but my hand in my pocket stayed clamped around the red dots like a weapon. The kid walked in fully. His soaked sneakers squeaked and slapped against the polished oak, an awful wet sound in the quiet. He took off his helmet, revealing rain-plastered hair and a young, hollow face, maybe early 20s. Thin, exhausted. His orange uniform was smeared with mud. A name tag on his chest read, in messy marker, Noah. Noah didn't look at me. He didn't look at Leo either. He didn't even glance at the bright landscapes in the center, the ones Leo had hoped would sell for the most. Instead, he went straight to the darkest corner of the room, where the spotlight was the weakest. He stopped in front of the painting called The Abyss. It was the one I hated most. I'd begged Leo not to bring it. It didn't look like his usual work. It was a mess of ash-gray tones, dark, suffocating. In the middle, a tiny human figure curled in on itself, and above it a faint blue streak, fragile as a dying ember. I once told him, Leo, people buy paintings to decorate their living rooms. They want something that makes them feel good. Nobody wants to hang sadness on their wall. Leo had stayed quiet, but he'd still slipped it into the far corner. And now Noah stood in front of it. He didn't move. His arms hung limp. Water dripped from his pant cuffs onto the floor, pooling beneath him. He stared like he was hypnotized, like the whole world had dissolved and it was just him and that dark, choking canvas. The silence was suffocating. Only the rain pounding the glass and the heater's low hum. I checked my watch. 8:58 p.m. My patience was running out. I wanted the night to end. I wanted to get Leo home, warm him up, help him forget this disaster. Hey, kid. I walked closer, my voice cold with a little bite of sarcasm. Do you have any idea how much that painting costs? It's $200. If you're not buying, we need to clean up. I knew I was being cruel. I knew I was dumping my anger on someone who didn't deserve it. But I couldn't stop. I was furious at the whole world, and he was the only piece of it standing in front of me. Noah flinched like he'd been yanked awake. He turned to me, eyes wide, bloodshot, bruised with dark circles. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. I know I can't afford it, he mumbled, voice shaking. He stepped back and stared at his torn shoes. I'm sorry. I know I got your floor dirty. I'm leaving. He turned, about to put his helmet back on and rush out into the rain. The pathetic, defeated way he moved made something in me soften. My rage drained out, replaced by a dull guilt. Wait, Leo said suddenly. Leo walked quickly from the front desk, past me, straight toward Noah. He didn't look at the dirty uniform. He looked directly into Noah's eyes. Why? Leo asked. His voice wasn't the voice of a man failing anymore. It was the voice of an artist. Intense, hungry with curiosity. Why did you stop for that painting? Hundreds of people walked by tonight and didn't even glance at this window once. Why did you come in? Noah froze, gripping his helmet strap. He swallowed, hesitating like he was deciding whether he could say it out loud. Then he looked back at the abyss, and the sadness in his eyes was almost unbearable. Because I saw myself in it, he whispered. Leo and I went still. Noah took a deep breath. His voice steadied a little, though it still trembled. I work 14 hours a day. I ride in any weather to make money to send home, to pay for my mom's treatment. But last week the doctor said she wasn't going to make it. She died. He paused, biting his lip to hold back a sob. I saw Leo's hand curl into a fist. He was barely breathing as he listened. Since then, I've still been working. I still smile and joke with customers when I drop off food. People keep telling me to be strong, but inside... Noah pointed at his chest, then at the curled-up figure in the painting. Inside, I'm exactly like that. Just gray, cold. And I feel like I'm falling. And nobody can hear me. Nobody can see me. I want to scream, but nothing comes out. Tears slid down Noah's cheeks, mixing with the rain still clinging to his skin. Tonight the rain was so bad. Orders kept getting canceled. I crashed my bike at the intersection over there. He swallowed hard. I thought, maybe I should just stay down. Maybe I should let it all go. He wiped his face with the back of his hand. But then I walked past this place. I looked through the glass and I saw that painting. He turned to Leo, and gratitude lit his face in the rawest, most honest way I'd ever seen. Sir, I don't know anything about art. I've never set foot in a gallery before, but when I saw it, I cried. The first time since my mom's funeral, I actually cried, because I realized someone understands this feeling. Someone painted my pain. And that tiny blue streak. He pointed to the faint light in the canvas. It made me think maybe there's still hope. Maybe I'm not completely dead inside. Leo stood frozen, his whole body rigid like stone. I didn't come in to buy anything, Noah said quickly, ashamed. I know I don't have the money. I just came in to say thank you. Thank you for painting it. Because of it. Tonight. I decided I won't give up. I'm going to go home, take a shower, sleep, and tomorrow I'll keep living. Noah bowed deeply. I'm sorry for bothering you. Then he turned and pushed back out into the rain, leaving us standing in that big white room. The bell over the door chimed once, and then the sound faded into silence. I stood there feeling like someone had slapped me hard across the face. All my calculations, money, rent, the red sold dots in my pocket, suddenly felt small, cheap, ridiculous. I looked at Leo. I thought he would cry or collapse, but he didn't. He stared after Noah's disappearing shape in the rain, and the misery that had been eating him alive for 4 hours was gone. In its place was something strange and calm, an unfamiliar light blooming in his tired eyes. He turned back to the abyss, walked closer, and gently touched the canvas, the same place he'd painted through sleepless nights. Nights when he'd wanted to quit too. Claire, he said. His voice wasn't shaking anymore. It was steady, warm. Do you still have the red dot stickers? I startled, pulled the damp stack from my pocket. Yeah, I have them. But why? He didn't buy anything. He's gone. Leo smiled. It was the best smile I'd seen on him in months, not a polite sales smile. A real one, like a man who just remembered why he exists. Give me one, he said. I peeled off a red dot and handed it over. Leo took it. He didn't stick it on a label. He pressed it onto the left side of his chest, right above his heart. This one sold, Claire, he said, eyes bright. Not for money, for a life. For a person deciding not to give up tonight. He pulled me into a hug so tight I could feel his heart thundering against my cheek. I was wrong, he whispered. I kept thinking success meant selling all this to rich people so they could hang it in their hollow mansions. I forgot why I picked up a brush in the first place. I paint to connect. I paint to tell the people out there who are hurting that they're not alone. My tears spilled out, soaking his shoulder. I'd been wrong too. I'd been trying to protect him from financial failure, but I almost strangled his artist soul with bills and fear. Let's go home, I cried, but this time it was relief. Not yet, Leo said, letting me go. His eyes were set. He walked to the abyss and started unhooking it from the wall. Help me wrap this one up. Carefully, plastic, tight, make it waterproof. What are you doing? I asked, wiping my face. That kid's on a bike, Leo said, already wrapping the canvas. He can't have gone far. He needs this painting more than anyone. And this painting, he looked at it like it was alive. It belongs with him. I stared. That painting was $1,200. That money could have paid half our rent this month. But when I looked into Leo's eyes, I understood. There was no check on earth that could buy back this moment. So I smiled and grabbed the bubble wrap. Hurry, before he disappears. And there we were, two people in nice clothes that were now ruined, clutching a big canvas wrapped in plastic, charging out of the gallery into the freezing Brooklyn rain. We weren't chasing a customer. We were chasing a kindred soul. Brooklyn tonight is bone-deep cold. November rain lashes our faces like needles. My expensive heels skid on the soaked sidewalk, mud splattering the dress I'd babied all week. And somehow I don't care. Leo is running ahead of me, arms locked around the plastic-wrapped painting like it's a treasure. His white shirt is plastered to his back, soaked through. He's sprinting, splitting puddles, scanning for that orange jacket. Noah, Noah, wait! Leo shouts, but the wind and the traffic swallow half his voice. At the next red light, we see him. Noah is hunched over his beat-up bike, struggling with it like it's dead from the rain. He keeps kicking the starter in frustration, alone under a dim yellow streetlight. Noah! This time he hears it. He turns, startled, nearly dropping his helmet when he sees two drenched, overdressed strangers running toward him. We stop in front of him, gasping. The breath from all three of us turns to white fog in the freezing air. Mr. Leo? Ms. Claire? Noah stammers, eyes wide. What? What happened? Did I break something in the gallery? Even now he assumes he's in trouble. Even now he carries himself like life is always about to scold him. Leo doesn't answer right away. He just smiles, bright, unstoppable, even with rain pouring down his face, and holds the painting out in front of Noah. This, Leo said, still catching his breath, is yours. Noah stared at the bundle, then at Leo. What? I don't understand. The abyss, Leo said, pushing it into Noah's hands. I'm giving it to you. Take it home. Hang it up. Or lean it in the corner of your room. But it belongs with you. Noah jumped back, waving his hands. No. No, I can't. I know the price. $1,200. I can't. I'd have to work 2 months. I can't take that. You already paid, I said, stepping closer, putting a hand on his shoulder. My hand was cold and wet, but I needed him to feel what I meant. Noah, you paid with your story. You paid by seeing it. A painting isn't finished until it finds the person who understands it. And tonight, you were the only one who did. But Noah's eyes filled. He looked at the painting, then at us, craving it and fearing it at the same time. Take it, kid, Leo said, voice dropping into something serious, something man-to-man. I painted that when I was at my lowest. I almost burned it because I thought nobody would ever understand that kind of pain. But you did. You saved the painting, and you saved me too. So please, accept it. So I know what I made actually matters. Noah stood still for a second. The rain hammered down around us, but that moment felt outside of time. His hands shook as he reached out and took the painting. He hugged it to his chest, pressing his face against the wet plastic. His shoulders started to tremble. He cried, not the choked crying from inside the gallery. This was release. The kind that comes when you're finally seen. Thank you, he whispered through sobs. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I promise I won't give up. Every time I look at it, I'll remember I'm not alone. Leo clapped him hard on the shoulder. That's right. None of us are alone. Go home. Get some sleep. Tomorrow will come. We stood there while Noah carefully tied the painting to the back of his bike. Then he tried the ignition again. This time the engine caught. He waved at us, and the little bike disappeared into the wet New York night. Leo and I turned to look at each other. We were drenched, hair plastered to our heads. His suit was ruined. My dress was smeared with mud. We'd just given away the most valuable thing we owned and gotten $0 in return. We still had bills. We still didn't know how we'd survive next month. And yet, as Leo took my hand and we walked back to the gallery, a strange happiness rose in my chest. Light. Full. The kind no paycheck can buy. We pushed open the door to the canvas. It was still empty. White walls. Cold air. The bright landscape still hanging there, ignored. But in the corner, where the abyss had been, there was only a blank rectangle of wall and a lonely metal hook. Leo walked over and stared at the empty spot. Then he turned to me and gave me a mischievous little look. "You still have those red dots?" he asked. I smiled and pulled the damp stickers from my pocket. Leo peeled one off and, with a kind of ceremony, pressed it onto the white wall beside the now empty hook. A vivid red dot on blank white. Sold. Not sold to a Wall Street millionaire. Not sold to a famous museum. Sold to a soul that needed saving. "So," I said softly, resting my head on his shoulder. "We made it, huh?" "Yeah," Leo said, wrapping his arms around me and kissing my forehead. "The biggest success of my life." We packed up after 9:30. We left with an empty wallet but a full heart. That night, I learned a lesson I'll carry for the rest of my life. We love to measure the value of what we do, our work, our passion, by numbers. How much money, how many likes, how many compliments. And when the numbers don't show up, we feel useless, like we failed. But the real value of what we create isn't there. It's in connection. If what you do, whether it's painting a picture, writing a song, or just cooking a meal, can touch the heart of even one person, can make them feel understood, comforted, less alone, then you've already succeeded. Leo didn't become famous after that night. We still had to fight with bills. He still had to pick up side jobs. But he never stopped painting, because he knew that somewhere in this huge city, in a tiny rented room, there was a young man looking at his painting for one reason: to find the strength to keep living. And that was enough. Soft piano music rises to a gentle climax, then fades out. So if you're listening to this story and you feel like your effort is invisible, if you're standing in your own empty gallery waiting for someone to walk in, please don't quit. Don't take your dream down. You never know. Maybe out there, in the rain, someone desperately needs what you're making. Just one person is enough to give meaning to everything. Keep painting, keep writing, keep working with your whole heart. Because the most valuable red dots in your life don't always come in the shape of money. My name is Claire. Thank you for listening to the story of the most beautiful rainy night of our lives.